Hello, thank you for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to be talking about independent data. So we already have discussed what independent data is. So it means that you have groups that do not depend on each other, meaning a measurement from one group isn't going to impact a measurement from another group. So it's independent. Now you can have multiple groups, but today we're going to be focusing on just when you have two groups that you're comparing. So two separate populations or two separate groups that you'll be comparing. Now remember, they're separate from one another. That means that they do not impact each other's measurements at all. So if I had freshman cross-country runners and I had senior cross-country runners and I wanted to see their time to run a mile, I would think that that would be independent data. They're separate from one another because I would not expect the freshman time to affect the senior time. That means because they are so separate from one another, they will all have their own measurements. So when you do this type of work, you will separate them into two groups and then you will denote who gets what measurement or what measurement goes with what group by adding a subscript 1 or a subscript 2. So in the example I just gave you with the cross-country runners, I might have freshmen be group 1 and then all of their measurements would have the same one quantitative measurements, but we'll add a subscript 1 to denote that that's coming from group 1 or from the freshman group. So their own mu sub 1, their own x bar sub 1, their own sigma sub 1, etc. So then group 2 would be the seniors, and they would have all of their own measurements, but we would identify them as the senior measurements by adding a subscript 2. So x bar sub 2 would be the mean time to run a mile for senior cross-country runners. Okay, so when you do these problems, one of the most important things is to be organized and to start the problem by identifying group 1 and group 2, and then making sure that all of the measurements for group 1 are with group 1s and group 2 is with group 2. I always recommend color coding. All right, well, in future videos, we're going to start looking at the generic FRED for two independent population means. See you in future videos.